I should probably put us on the screen. What is up, everybody? How are you guys doing? It is Mattalk. Sorry, I decided to put us live on Instagram today, and it requires extra steps. So that is what I was doing instead of putting us back on the screen. But anyway, guys, I don't have a funny opener because the premise of this episode is sad. So, John, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well, man. Can't complain. Spent part of the day painting the extra bedroom in my house because it needs it. I didn't get all the way done. Got one more wall to do, but I keep finding. I don't know. Have you ever painted a room in your house?
I can't paint. I'm not a good painter. I don't paint. Painting sucks.
Oh, I'm not a very good painter either. I don't have the steady hand for it, but I'm also not paying somebody $400 to paint a room in my house. I'm like, forget that. But I keep finding little pieces of, like, I just looked here, like I still got dried paint like on my ring finger, my knuckle, even though I've taken a shower, I've washed my hands probably 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 times since I stopped painting, but still finding little how you doing little spots, if you will.
Well, John, how are you doing, man? But anyway, guys, so listen, I told you guys about John's character from the movie that he's going to be in. Well, after the show, John got an email saying, listen, your demands are outrageous. We can't match it. You want $1 million salary just to stand in the background for 3 seconds. John, not even The Rock gets that for a second. And they had to let John go. John, I'm so sorry, man. So sorry.
That's not true. None of that is true, ladies and gentlemen.
You didn't ask for too much, John. You only asked for a trailer, script approval, and $1 million.
First of all, that is not true. None of that is true. Actually, the filming did not happen last week. There were some technical issues that went on, and so things were postponed. So I did not get an opportunity to flex my acting muscles as recurring another role as an FBI agent. Although, little interesting side note, last night I was talking to a friend of the show, Jeremy Colley from the Canned Air podcast, and he was also going to be in the movie too. And we haven't talked in a while, so I just was thinking, if I'd walked onto set last Sunday and saw Jeremy there, I would have been, I don't know, overjoyed, I guess. What a coinky dink.
I would have loved to talk to Jared about that, to say, hey, man, how did you feel when you couldn't get script approval, but John could? I'd like to hear his opinion.
Okay. All right. So we have a little bit of a topic to discuss. And I'm going to talk about one particular part of this discussion. You're going to talk about the other part. And that is the wonders and the necessity of physical media. Correct, Jason? We said we were going to talk about this because there's been some news, some good news and some bad news. I'm going to handle the good news. You're going to handle the bad news. Okay, you want me to go first?
I don't know what the good news is, but yeah, John, go ahead.
The good news. Finally, as Jason discovered this week, thanks to him perusing the internet for all kinds of news and opinions and whatnot, that Homicide: Life on the Street will be streaming starting next month on Peacock. And I say that's good news because I love Homicide: Life on the Street. It is a fantastic show. But I got to warn people, if you're watching David Simon's catalog of shows, you got to start with Homicide: Life on the Streets first because it's a good show. It's a solid cop show, but it's nothing like The Wire. So if you watch The Wire first and then you try to watch Homicide, I think you're doing yourself a disservice. Homicide first, The Wire, Treme. I forgot to look up the one that just was out a couple of years ago, but that's okay. You could Google that. So that's some great stuff. I happen to have it on physical media. I have the whole complete series and the 2-hour wrap-up movie that they did in 2000. So I didn't have to worry about it not streaming. But now, people that love the stream can also check out the awesomeness that is Homicide: Life on the Street. Now, you are going to take the bad news.
But I've been thinking about this because you said this to me. But I just because I watched Breaking Bad doesn't mean it ruined every other show about drugs for me. I think that, if you've seen The Wire, I think you can go back and watch Homicide. Just go back with realistic expectations. It's a 90s
True.
cop show.
You know
Right?
what? That's right.
Don't go back expecting the greatest show of all time, because if I go into every show expecting Breaking Bad, I never watch anything ever again.
No, that's a good point. That's a good point. We did talk about that in our conversation about that, yeah, you have to go in realistic, that this is a solid network cop show. The Wire's on HBO, anything goes, but definitely if you love a good cop drama, if you love Andre Brower, I mean, he and Kyle Secor, fantastic duo on that show. You need to check it out. Now, Jason, you have some bad news to share with the listeners, who probably many of them already know this.
They probably don't. Matlock is leaving Amazon Prime in a week. Sad. But guys, go buy it on DVD. I got it on DVD. John's watch it on Pluto TV. I think Pluto TV's on demand sucks because you watch something and then it resets, so you have to go look for it again. I get it. Like, you can take them a few minutes and do it, but I find it obnoxious personally. But I have him on DVD. You guys should totally pick up Matlock on DVD. But I want to go back to the expectations thing, because we always get into what we watched this week. Again, I went and saw Deadpool. And one of the things that I've heard people say about Deadpool is it was fine, but it's not as good as Endgame. It's not as good as Infinity War. Guys, if that's your benchmark for these movies, you're going to be disappointed for the rest of your life. Like, it's okay for a superhero movie not to live up to those two. And Deadpool and Wolverine is funny. It's a great comedy. Don't take the kids. If you're easily offended, stay away. But it is a great comedy, and you guys can't go into shows or movies with these high expectations and say, well, it wasn't that. Well, of course it wasn't that. You think that took 23 movies to build up to that? Like, let's relax.
I have not yet seen Deadpool and Wolverine. I'm going to try to go before heading out on vacation again. From what I've heard, everybody says exactly what you've said. It's good. The cameos are what makes the movie really fun. Great action, decent story. Is it as good as the first Deadpool? No. But again, as you said, correct expectations, right? That you can't judge that particular show against some of the greats. You're right. Absolutely.
I might have actually had more fun with this one than the first Deadpool. I'd have to think about it, though. Maybe not as good of a movie, but I definitely had more fun with this. But guys, watch Orphan Black Echoes. If you're into good sci-fi, watch Orphan Black Echoes. I want this show renewed. It gets better with each episode. Kristen Ritter is awesome. The actress they got playing Jules, which is a clone, like a younger version clone of her, is also awesome. She looks like Kristen Ritter. It's like they grew her in a lab. I mean, it's unbelievable. But yeah, Orphan Black Echoes is my obsession. I'm doing reviews of it on all the social medias and stuff, and I love it. I'm glad it's not a bingeable show. I'm glad I get to look forward to it every week, because every Sunday I wake up, I'm like, yes. Which, I miss weekly TV, and I'm glad it's kind of coming back to streaming services. Like, I'm excited that I get to look forward to 5 more Cobra Kais in a few months, and I didn't get it all at once, and it's just gone. I think I'm missing the weekly TV a lot more than I thought I would.
Well, what I've been watching, I finished The Boys, which was it ended on a very good cliffhanger. But I'd like to highlight the fact that my girlfriend and I have really started to follow certain comics, stand-up comics. And so in October, we have tickets to see Tom Segura and Chad Daniels, who are going to be in the Columbus, Ohio area. And so Chad Daniels just had a Netflix comedy special drop called Empty Nester. And the other night, my girlfriend and I decided to check it out and watch it. I'm going to be 100% honest. It's an hour-long special. The first half is not very good. I mean, I was starting to get nervous, and I looked at my girlfriend and said, "We've paid $70 to see Chad Daniels in October. This better not be what we get." But man, turned it around at that half-hour mark. Turned it around and just started with the funnies, man, and just machine gun through it. So I give it a B, if you will, if you're interested in watching his comedy. like I said, beware. I didn't find the first half funny, but the second half was fantastic, and makes me breathe a little bit of sigh of relief that I didn't spend $70 on tickets for a bad show.
And guys, it takes a lot for John to spend $70 on anything, let alone $7. But
whoa! I'll tell you right now, my favorite band is coming to. It's not coming to Columbus, coming to Cincinnati and Cleveland. And Cincinnati is a Saturday night show. I so want to go see Fantagram. If anybody out there's heard of them, do you know how much tickets are? Because they are with Kings of Leon. It's Kings of Leon and Fantagram. They're double headers. You know how much the tickets are? $97. I like you, Fantagram. I love you, Fantagram. One of my favorite acts ever, musically, but I'm not paying $97 to see you in concert. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah. I'm like, sorry. We'll have to try something out. And I had friends go, why don't you try the Cleveland show? I'm like, well, the Cleveland show's on a Monday. So some of us have to go to work on Tuesday. And so, that would be
scalpers suck, like for real. They buy up all the tickets so the fan, like you almost can't even get tickets through first party anymore.
No,
I miss going and standing in line. We should need to go back to that.
I remember
standing in line, bring back video stores, just bring back the 90s.
So you mean like back, like Ticketmaster was always through the special, always had their events through Kroger. You could go to Kroger and they'd get you, and you'd have to stand in line. Yeah, man, I remember doing that a lot for wrestling tickets, man. Jeez.
Yeah. All right, they don't want to hear us talk about this.
No, they don't. They want
to hear us talk about the parents, John.
That's right. This quote sad end quote episode of Matlock. So with that, then, Jason, let's get into our opening statement.
Let's do it.
The episode is called The Parents, and the original air date is January 15th, 1991. Speaking of the 90s, we have a couple of guest stars, one of which I was very excited that he was on this episode. First, I'd like to point out something that's very odd. Now, for you folks that are listening and watching at home, you probably have figured out that we kind of divide and conquer on the workload for this podcast. I'm always the one to look up the guest stars. And I have never seen this before in all of the years we've been doing this podcast.
I want to give John a little bit of credit. We share the workload, as in I watch the episode and John does everything else.
No, that's not true. You do all the putting it through Twitter and Instagram, and Twitch and all that jazz. I don't understand any of that jazz. So it's a good team. We'll just leave it at that.
I click some buttons. John does a lot of research. It's fun.
That's true.
I love it. I love the gig.
So the very first guest star is a guy named Paul D'Souza, and he's going to play the role of the boyfriend named Chris Miller. He only has 4 acting credits for his entire career.
And one of them is the Rocketeer. Was he her boyfriend? I didn't think he was her boyfriend. I thought that was a misunderstanding. He was more her roommate.
He was more the roommate. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, he only had 4 acting credits. And I'll talk more about Chris Miller / Paul D'Souza later. But I was blown away because I've never seen that low of a count. Like before, I'll tell you right now, it was not uncommon maybe to see 30, 40 credits. I think there's been a couple like upper 20s, like this actress only did 29 episodes or whatever. 4. It blew my mind. But let's talk about somebody that has more than just 4 credits to her name. Let's talk about the guest star, whose name is Christine Elise. She'll be playing the role of Jill Lambert. And Jason, you gotta love.
Oh, I do know her. I know her very well. She's in my favorite of the Child's Play movies, Child's Play 2. She also reprised the role in the Child's Play television series Chucky, which is a very, very good show if you're into horror. She's fantastic. You
forgot Cult of Chucky.
Yes. Well, that was a post-credit scene. I did forget about that.
Okay. She was also Harper Tracy on ER. Emily Valentine on the original Beverly Hills 90210. She was Lana Farron in the TV show In the Heat of the Night. Kit Keller in the TV version of A League of Their Own. Carol in Boiling Point, and a bunch of other credits to her name. So I thought that you would absolutely jump all over that one. I'm sure that you would have remembered.
Yeah, I've talked to her on Instagram DMs back and forth a few times, trying to get her on 3 Geeks. Very nice, but with all the Child's Play publicity and stuff they were making her do, she's kind of worn out by the time I got to her.
Okay. All right. Well, let's talk about another guest star. The gentleman's name is Alan Royal. He'll be playing the role of Howard Boggs. You may also know him as David on the show Essex County, Judge Franklin in the Lizzie Borden Chronicles, Chief Stockton in the Canadian TV show Murdoch Mysteries, Judge Trott on the TV version of The Firm, Alan Dulles in the Kennedys, which was, I believe, a multi-episode miniseries.
Yep.
Captain Braddock's on Star Trek Voyager, Jackson Tate on Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman, and quite a few other credits to Alan's name as well. All right, our last one, which is the one that made me the most surprised. John Saxon is going to be on an episode of Matlock.
As soon as I saw John Saxon, I'm like, that's the murderer. Like, I'm not giving away the episode. We'll find out if it was. But the second I saw his face, first I went to IMDb because I was surprised to see John Saxon slumming it on television. But I guess if he's gonna do, because, you know, television in the 80s and 90s is not what it is now. Actors from film, like, hated doing TV because it felt like a step down.
Yeah.
And every actor on television was trying to get into the movies. Nowadays, it's pretty even playing field. If not, television more regarded, I think, now than maybe movies are. But yeah, dude, I had to IMDb it because I didn't believe it was John Saxon. As soon as I'd done IMDb, I hit play, and then his name popped up on the screen. I'm like, oh, I could just waited 2 seconds. But now it's really cool seeing John Saxon.
That's right. He played the role of Lieutenant Thompson in Nightmare on Elm Street 1 and 3. Mm-hmm. He was also, personally, this is my connection to him, he was Roper in the Bruce Lee film Enter the Dragon. He's also played roles such as Tony Coomson on Falcon Crest, Edward Gerard on Another World, Rashid Ahmed on Dynasty, and a whole host of other wonderful roles. And a lot of times he was the villain in most of those roles. So I, much like you, agreed that's the guy that killed. He's the murderer. He killed Jill. Yep. But alas, we can let the cat out of the bag a little bit. We would be wrong on that. He's not the killer, ladies and gentlemen.
Spoiler alert, John. And he was also reprised his role / played himself in Wes Craven's New Nightmare.
Hey, can I ask a quick question? Why was he in Nightmare on Elm Street 1 and 3? Why not 2? Do you happen to have a guess?
He played the main girl's father, and she wasn't in the second one.
Okay. There you go. See?
Yeah.
I've never seen any
John.
of them.
I know the answer. I got a Freddy poster right here.
Okay.
Next to Laura Palmer.
Hey, dude. I never watched Nightmare on Elm Street. So, anyways. All right. I have to ask you that question that I ask every single week, but I need to hear it from you just one more time. Are you ready to give an opinion? Your opinion, and solely your opinion, so help you.
No.
No.
Let's testify!
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the plot of this episode is that there are some adoptive parents who are suspected of killing their surrogate mother after having doubts about giving up the baby. I think this is really kind of topical for this particular time period. I think the late 80s, especially the late 80s, in the early 90s, there was still a lot of that reproductive rights conversation about surrogate parents. And so, you know, as we've seen throughout the show, throughout various different episodes, you know, topical events, topical situations show up in Matlock. Well, our opening scene is a bunch of old footage of nurses, babies, life in the 1950s. And then it cuts to the Atlanta skyline, then blurs on into a rural area, and then into the suburbs, where at this beautiful home in the suburbs, Michelle Thomas is visiting Amy and her husband. Husband, of course, is Howard. And come see this nursery. So Michelle sees the nursery, and Amy and Howard are going to have a baby through a surrogate mother. But the big question here, real quick, for Michelle is, would you be the godmother of our child? Of which Michelle says yes. And so, Jason, so far we're off to a very calm, easygoing start to this episode.
I know, we had a fantastic guest appearance by Michelle Thomas.
Damn it, I knew you were going to say that. I don't even know. Why did I throw it to you on that one? Anyways, so Amy and her husband, they're going to visit the surrogate. They brought her groceries. They were giving her some cash. She was checking in. When's your next doctor appointment? How is everything? And, of course, Jill is that surrogate. She's with her, what we assumed was boyfriend, Chris Miller. We're going to find out that they kind of didn't. They had a very unusual relationship. We'll talk more about that in a moment. And now I know, Jason, you are probably through having kids, but let's go back in time. Would you have had a surrogate mother get you a baby, so to speak, if you will? I guess that's the correct way to say it. So
if I hadn't had the privilege of having a child with my first wife, I probably would have found a way to have a child through whatever means possible, because I always wanted children, which is why I've collected so many over the years.
Collected so many?
You know what I mean? Like, I go into relationships, and when I leave the relationships, I don't leave the children. Like, I'm still in most of their lives of the people I've dated. That's what I meant by collecting them, folks. I don't have a white van with a mustache.
I was gonna say, listen, everybody can look back here. I collect action figures, especially wrestling ones. I do. I have not heard anybody refer to it as collecting kids. That was
my mom calls it that, because like most people go into relationships, they leave with cats, and then I leave a relationship because it's not the kid's fault that me and their mother didn't work out, and I get along with all of my exes. So like I just went to the movies with my ex-wife and her husband 2 days ago to watch Deadpool. Like I get along with them. So yeah, keep the kids in my life. I love the kids.
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna back up my partner in crime, my pal here. He does do a very good job of being a father figure to those kids, no matter if they are his biological kid or other kids from past relationships, and that's great, man. So and I do envy you that you're not that angry with any of your exes.
Nah.
Okay.
Life's too short, man. You got to look at the way I look at relationships is how is my life now compared to when I was in the relationship, and I love my life now. So everything worked out the way it should, and I'm in a great relationship now. Deanna's fantastic.
We've gotten really zen here after the collection comment. Yeah. Anyways,
I love saying it that way because it brings up, we can make jokes. It's good.
That's fine. The surrogate gets up to get a drink, and this is after the Boggs had left. And all of a sudden, she's like, "Wait a minute, I'm having pains. Like it's time. All right, it's time to go." So they go to the hospital, and the baby is born. And of course, the Boggs are there, and they meet John Franklin, who is one of the people handling the adoptions. All right. So Jill comes by to check out the baby. Corey is going to be her name in the nursery. And it's there that she decides to keep the baby. All right.
I got to say, I didn't say this when you mentioned the guest star. I had such a crush on Christine when I was young. Child's Play 2 is when I fell in love with her. I mean, pretty much Child's Play 2 is all I'd seen her in. But I loved her in those movies. Like as 7-year-old me or 8-year-old me, I was in love.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Ready to get married.
Ready to get.
I've been ready to get married since I was 5. That's why I've had so many wives, John. I've only had 2. I'm kidding, but continue.
Oh my God, the YouTube shorts for this episode is going to be off the charts. So heads up, Justin, you got a lot of material to work with. So Jill is whisked away kind of to another room in which another individual, Harry, which is, I guess, her advocate for this. Good. You're going to need to be ready. And so they're talking about Jill's like decision that she's reversed. And she's like, no, I've changed my mind. I want to keep the baby. I want to name her Corey, blah, 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 blah. So basically a meeting is set up for the next night at 7 p.m. at Jill's apartment to discuss this. So the Boggs are going to be there. Jill is going to be there. Harry's going to be there. Well, the Boggs, they arrive for their meeting. And they discover that the door is unlocked. And so the Boggs enter and they find a dead Jill lying on the floor. And
we actually have blood. Have blood.
I was going to say Howard gets blood all over his hands when he goes to check to see if she's alive. And the Boggs just leave.
Yeah, they run.
Okay. I wrote in parentheses and in capital letters, call the cops. Why did you not call the cops?
Because, John, they needed to be accused of this crime, so we had to make them look guilty. I think they're afraid it was going to stop them from having the baby, which I understand. I'm sure I'm adding subtext. I don't know if that's really the intentions, but I'm sure they were like, if we get caught here, they're going to think we did it. And that means we're not going to get this child because, as we find out, they get the child if she dies.
Mm-hmm. But, yeah. And, well, by the way, when they run out into the hallway, they run into Harry. Mm-hmm. So our next scene is at police headquarters. Michelle's trying to calm down and calming the Boggs. Ben, man, he chews out Carl, the assistant ADA, does he not? He just gives him the riot act. Angry Ben in full effect, man.
Which we didn't mention him in the guest stars, Gregory Itzen. We've talked about him before. This is like his third or fourth time on the show. First time, I think, not being a criminal.
Correct. He was a criminal in one episode, and then I think he's been this ADA before in another episode. Oh, okay. As well. So
that's what I was wondering, if he had played this role in this show.
You know what? I take that back. This may have been the first time, but in subsequent, season 6, 7, I think he's in it some as well. So Ben arrives into the room and explains what the charges are that the Boggs might face, and Howard gets mad, and I love how Howard said, it's an insult. It's an insult. It's an insult. And he's very upset, but Ben assures them that he's got everything under control. So we cut to a scene where Lieutenant Bob Brooks is interviewing Harry. Ben and Michelle arrive, and they discuss the case / evidence. And one thing that's very weird about the apartment is that there's pictures all around. Chris Miller's not in any of them. But Chris Miller is the boyfriend of Jill, who's been helping her with the baby and the pregnancy. So Ben chats with the Boggs, and they're talking about Chris, all right, and kind of his odd behavior, and just how he just doesn't talk to them. He's kind of really aloof, and so Ben decides to go check out where Chris is hanging out, which I didn't understand this. Maybe you can explain it to me. I don't know. So Ben goes to this other house, and I'm like, is this an actual like house where Chris lives? Because it made it seem like it was, but yet his band was just practicing. Like, I didn't understand what the hell this house was. Was it a flop house? Because here's where we find out that he's actually just kind of more like a friend, that he's been helping out Jill, that she was pregnant before he ever met her, and he is not the baby daddy, and that he just kind of lived at Jill's apartment. So I didn't understand what this house was. Do you have any ideas, theories, explanations?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Like I said, it just was confusing. Like, Chris didn't seem like he would have enough money to have a second home.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So unless maybe all of his money was wrapped up in that house, and he just crashed for free over Jill's. That's the only thing I can think of. We get a pleasant diatribe between a new character and Ben Matlock. Ben's leaving for the office, and his new housekeeper is there, Mrs. McCardle, and she won't let Ben leave without some breakfast. Ben is annoyed by her story, and it's a story about adoption, and Ben just wants to get out of there, and so he ends up taking his toast, and when Mrs. McCardle's not looking. He puts it in his pocket and says, I'm ready to go. I was not a fan of this. It seemed shoehorned in. To me, it was like kind of a ripoff of Rosen Island from the Golden Girls with her stupid stories. At least those stupid stories were somewhat funny. This wasn't funny. I do not like this. What say you, Jason?
I didn't bother. Neither here nor there. Are we done with Ben's office though? Because we've been in the house a lot this season.
Yes, we have. That's a good point. Yeah, I don't know.
Because I know eventually the office vanishes from the show.
Yes, correct. Well, you're right. I don't think we've been in the office very much. Only just a few times here and there. Well, Michelle goes to interview Matt Grayson, who has a horse farm, and he's on a horse. And I thought that's a weird way to interrogate somebody while they're up on a horse. And you're going, excuse me, where were you on the night of the murder? But I digress. His wife, Barbara, shows up, and she kind of kills the whole conversation. Like, we got to go to the Van Buren's or somebody's for dinner, blah, 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 blah.
Blah, 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 blah.
John Franklin is interviewed by Ben. The funniest part about this is that Ben leaves the office and Chris appears from an adjacent room. And so something is mentioned about be there tonight at 7 p.m. So while Ben is in the parking lot, he sees Chris's van, which has already been in a previous scene when Ben stopped by Chris's house. It's a beat up van that has a bumper sticker that says, "Don't like my driving? 1-800 buzz-off." Very cutting edge. That's a way to stick it to the man.
Very 90s.
Very. I mean, I'm surprised there wasn't a sticker that said, "Eat my shorts, dude."
Now it would just actually have the word it's supposed to say on it.
Yeah.
That's how far we've come.
That's right. 1-800-F off. Yeah, that's exactly it.
Spelled out.
Spelled out. Yes, exactly. So what does Ben witness? He witnesses John and Chris meeting at a restaurant, and Michelle is there taking all kind of photos, right? And there's a quick chat, and then John leaves. We go to another story time with Mrs. McCardle, excuse me, and Ben. I dislike her so much I don't even want to give her name and pronounce it correctly because I really was annoyed by this.
She's not that bad, folks. John just needs a hug.
No. This would have been a great place to plug in Ace Calhoun.
No, she's fine. I was just trying. The only thing that bothered me about her is I was trying to figure out where I'd seen her before.
Oh, okay. Well, Michelle saves Ben from yet another story from McCardle by showing up, and then they kind of poke fun a little bit at her. So we go to the courtroom. Things get testy between John Franklin and Ben Matlock. In fact, some things are said that, hey, if you don't stop messing around following me, I'm going to get this on you. I'm going to do that. I'm going to sue you for everything, yada, yada, yada. If you tell everybody that this terrible rumor, because John Franklin doesn't admit one way or the other, that I'm the father of Jill's baby, well, I'll just sue you, man. That's it. I'll sue you for everything you got.
You're gone. You're
done, man. And he'll give you a karate chop because he fought Bruce Lee, Ben. Yeah.
He did. Facts.
He did. Roper will kick you in the stomach with a roundhouse kick. Anyways, the painter is brought into the courtroom. There was a painter in the hallway when the Boggs went over and found the dead body of Jill. And he saw the Boggs leaving. However, the painter has been fired from many, many jobs. He seems to only last a couple of months. Why? Because he has a drinking problem. In fact, he makes beer runs while he's supposed to be painting. And so, as Ben points out, you really didn't know who went in that particular apartment. You just saw the Boggs leaving that particular apartment. So, good point, Ben. Very good point. Michelle is having dinner with the Boggs. And the baby will be there, obviously, if they win the trial. Michelle finds out that Jill stole some towels and soap from a fancy French restaurant. I'm sorry, French hotel, not French restaurant. My bad. French hotel. The desk clerk identifies Jill. See, here's my thing, real quick. This just popped in my head when I made the fumble about the French restaurant. How many French hotels are there, do you think, in the United States? Okay, I'm just go with me on this. I would think LA might have one. New York City definitely has one. I'd say maybe Chicago. Maybe I might say Miami. But I think Atlanta would not be one that would have a French hotel. And what makes a hotel a French hotel, by the way? You know what? Jason, tell the people where they can email us that answer to that question is, well, what makes a hotel a French hotel?
I Googled French hotels and just gave me a list of a bunch of hotels in Georgia that sell French toast. You guys can email us at benmattalk@gmail.com.
Or you can drop us a line on the Facebook page. Of course, it is Mattalk Podcast. All one word at Mattalk Podcast. And let us know about this quadri that we have about
Is
French.
the Waldorf French?
No, the Waldorf's not. No.
The French Quarter Suites?
Maybe.
It's in Atlanta.
Okay. All right. Well, Michelle goes and talks to a personal trainer who says that Matt was not at the gym when he said he was on the night of the murder because the AC went out. Every class was canceled, so nobody was working out. So Chris meets Matt at a dive bar and tries to blackmail him into saying, "Hey, look, I'll keep my mouth shut. That you're the father of Jill's baby, but you're gonna have to send me some green, 20 grand, as a matter of fact. That's right." And guess who all along has been checking out this little conversation? But old Benjamin Matlock with the newspaper.
Yeah, man, Ben is getting his hands dirty. I wonder where Conrad's at. Probably filming Walker, Texas.
Getting roundhouse kicks from Chuck Norris. So Matt leaves, and Chris, reveals that Ben has been back there by saying, "You're going to get me killed, man." So Michelle and Ben go back to the scene of the crime, and there is a baby blanket on the couch. It's the wrong color. It's not pink. It's blue, and that gives Matlock a clue. I'm a rhyming fool. What do you know? I could tell you more about the show. Anyways, that wasn't very good.
Yeah, not good, John.
Anyway, LL Cool J am not. Anyways, we go back to the courtroom. Matt Grayson is on the stand. And Matt claims he only met Jill once. It was at a party when John Franklin was like, "Hey, she's pregnant. Could you help her out? You know some people, et cetera, et cetera." And apparently I chased away some viewers with my rapping skills. I'm so sorry. Please come back. I promise I will never rap again. Please. Anyways, so basically Matt is in real estate and with his wife. And Ben presents the gym alibi and breaks it. Hey, the clerk from the gym, or excuse me, the trainer from the gym said nobody was there. AC was out. Then the desk clerk from the hotel says, "Oh yeah, that lady and him, they've been coming in quite a bit." So guess what? Matt's caught red-handed that he is, of course, having an affair with Jill. His wife leaves the courtroom in a huff, as rightfully so. And Matt basically doesn't want to have the kid. Doesn't want Jill to keep it. So Harry had told Matt about the meeting. So the theory is that Matt went over earlier and basically murdered Jill when they got into an argument and whatnot. The baby blanket was bought 1 hour before Jill was murdered at a local store. And, of course, Matt is so smart, puts the charge on his credit card. Idiot. And he did buy this blanket, but he bought the wrong color because all he knew was that the baby's name was Corey. So he thought Corey was a dude because that's what he's used to. And so he bought a blue blanket instead of a pink one. So that brings the case to kind of a halt. as Matt is assumed to be the killer. And basically, the end of the episode is touching. I will give you that. Where Michelle brings the Boggs to Ben's home, and she's like, Ben's going to bring you something. And he brings Corey into the room and hands the baby to the Boggs. And that concludes the parents.
Very, very, very nice. Well said, John.
Thank you. You have anything else to add, or should we get into our closing statements?
I wonder if the baby asked for script approval.
You know what? Funny you mentioned that. I thought to myself, I'm wondering if this child continued on acting, and what else have they done? Like at this point, they have to be late 30s, right? Like, did they continue on? Do they have a resume to their name? I had so many questions.
I'm gonna look up Corey, see if there's a name next to it.
Well, while you do that, I'm gonna throw us into our closing statements.
This is the part of the podcast where John and I rate the show on a gavel system. 1 gavel means we're not very big fans. 5 gavels means we loved it. -57 gavels means we are adopting 100 children, jumping in a bus, going cross country, and singing show tunes. John, how do you rate this episode?
Dude, that sounds like a plot of a great Adam Sandler movie. Like seriously, like 100 kids. Yeah.
Great
in
Adam
a bus.
Sandler movie? Sounds like an Adam Sandler movie. I don't know about a great Adam Sandler movie.
Oh, well, okay. Point well taken. Anyways, so what did you find out? Did you find this mystery baby?
No, the
baby's not in the credits. So
yeah, no, he is not listed on IMDb.
Okay. I hate to repeat myself, but I gave it 3 gavels.
Oh, John.
I gave it 3 gavels. Here's why. Chris Miller, a.k.a. Mr. D'Souza, Paul D'Souza, his acting was terrible. His acting was really bad. Like, he couldn't deliver lines with any type of, like, emphasis or dramatic effect. It really bothered me. It also bothered me the fact that we had the cleaning lady, McCardle, and Ben arguing. Not arguing, but she's sharing those stupid stories. Call the cops, people. If you discover you can. I'm not gonna be afraid. You can email us and tell me I'm wrong.
At benmattalk@gmail.com. Or
at Mattalk Podcast. I mean, the positive, I did think the ending was very good. I liked the ending. I liked that. I thought for a while John Franklin was the father of the child. I thought that switch was nice. I thought it was a unique tale that I said at the beginning, very topical to the time period. But yeah, overall, I just thought it was So 3 gavels.
I had fun with this episode. I've watched it. I kept starting it and then I couldn't focus because I was doing other things. So I kept restarting it and then restarting. I restarted this thing like 30 times, but I watched it all the way through twice. And I would give it a 3.5. I liked it more than John did. A lot of things that bothered John, they didn't really bother me. It's kind of a middle of the road episode, but in a good way. Yeah, that's really all I got to say. John's wrong.
No, you only gave it a half a gavel better than what I gave it.
Yeah, but that's a better score. I mean, that's the right score.
I don't know what I'm gonna do with you.
And there was blood in this episode, so.
Oh well, okay.
It's weird to see somebody get stabbed, bleed, but we got it in this episode.
Well, okay. Well, anyways, let's talk about our own personal podcasting projects. Jason, what's going on with 3 Geeks Podcast?
Today we did a live interview with Brandon Baker, who won The Circle, Netflix's reality show. He was awesome. Max and I were kind of, I wouldn't say starstruck, but we were both super excited for the interview. He's a Columbus native too, so hopefully we can grab some beers with him in the future. But guys, 3 Geeks Podcast, we're doing a special live show tomorrow at 8 where we're going to talk all the things that happened in San Diego Comic-Con this weekend. I spent all weekend reacting to most, I'm not going to say all because I didn't get to everything, but most of what happened within San Diego this weekend. Justin did such a good job keeping up with me with the editing and throwing videos together. So you guys can watch all of those shorts everywhere. And thank you to everybody who keeps commenting. I love the discourse, especially on TikTok. It's been phenomenal.
Yeah, thanks, folks. Keep it coming. Leave comments here. Leave comments on the TikTok, on Jason's page, on YouTube. Do all the things like review, rate, tell people.
Hit the
Reshare.
notification bell if you're on YouTube. I keep telling people to forget. I keep forgetting to tell people to hit the notification bell. It's something that all YouTubers say, and I never say it.
Yeah, subscribe. Hit that bell. Make it ring. And we do really appreciate it very, very much. So, as for the PVD cast, well, right now we have a friend that we both know who stopped by to chat with me. Of course, I'm talking about fellow podcaster George G3. We talk about his podcast called Dueling Aces, as well as a bunch of sports and WWE content as well. So check it out at pvdcast.com or wherever you find great podcasts. Should we get on out of here, sir?
We shall.
All right, and as they say in court, nothing further.
Ever notice how ads always pop up at the worst moments? When the killer's identity is about to be revealed. During that perfect meditation flow. On Amazon Music, we believe in keeping you in the moment. That's why we've got millions of ad-free podcast episodes, so you can stay completely immersed in every story, every reveal, every breath. Download the Amazon Music app and start listening to your favorite podcasts ad-free, included with Prime.